Hello everyone, welcome to another Level Up with Aaron Gods of Olympus video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the City Slots June 2018 update. I'm going to be going a little bit more in detail than maybe you've probably seen videos from other YouTubers, DeAsian, The Kitty, Clacasis. They all did videos describing, some details of the update and what to expect. Kind of went through the shopping list of what was going to be out there and everything. So with my video, I'm actually going to give you guys maybe a little bit more speculation, talk about some gameplay dynamic changes, etc., and then compare statistics for you, because what you can't see, but on the back end here, I actually have this same account loaded on live as well as loaded on post update version. So what you see is the post update version, and I also have the same account open on the live version, so I can give the figures to you for what the live version says, and you'll be able to see what post update those numbers are going to change to. So let me jump right in, talk about city slots. As you know, the base, this update is mostly about base building and defense. Really excited for the city slot potential. This is the first step in an all-encompassing base editor, but this alone should make players pretty excited. Just if you start thinking about all the stuff you can do with it, you can make different bases with different themes. You can make different bases, with different layouts. One might be anti-slow push layout. One might be an anti one god per temple layout. And then, of course, you can have all your different environments, with different bases with different environment buffs in place. And then you can be switching between these all the time to really keep the enemy attackers on their toes. I can see a lot of people, they get used to attacking one base and they've got a route for it, and then all of a sudden they attack your base and you switch to another layout. If they're not on their toes and keeping their eyes open for any changes, your base might surprise them now, because instead of being a Hera themed base, now maybe it's a Hades themed base. So now they should need to start where they should change where they start their attack to go after this new environment, etc. So you can get up to 10 slots, so you can get really creative with all your different layouts. Obviously, for each slot you have to pay ambrosia for it. So the first 3 or so are pretty reasonable. And obviously you can go all the way up to 10 for all the people that really want to get crazy and have a bunch of different layouts. So that's really exciting. I think that'll alone will kind of add some new dynamics to the defensive game. So I can see players regularly switching up their bases just to mix it up, which will be fun to see. So let me talk about some of the statistic changes. So of course we're seeing a lot of temple changes on this update, and as well as some housing changes as well. So the environment bonuses are also being modified. So instead of modifying just by 20% now, the strength on the environments is switching to a plus 100%. So they're basically making the environments have a larger impact on the temples especially. So let me give you the Hera temple here, and with the Hera environment and before and after comparison. So on the live version, I'm going to switch it just so you can see the figures. On the live version, this same base has an explosion damage of 209,260. And on the post-update version, you can see that jumps way up to 321,000. So that's a very significant change. So I think we're going to start seeing, some more Hera houses pop up and be more utilized, which will be fun to see, because they were one of those bonuses that was, pretty underwhelming and not really taken advantage of. We also see changes. Surprisingly, I don't know, they're changing the Zeus and the Athena temples, and they're decreasing them. I'm wondering if it probably has to do something with the fact that the daily challenges, those are the two levels that are the hardest to beat, are both the Athena and the Zeus. Probably the combination effect of those temples and those houses just make those bases really hard. So I think that they are reduced them by 15%. So nothing, enormous, but just like the other housing changes, they're subtle, but they will definitely make an impact. Let me go in and look. So we're going to see buffs in the Ares, Hades, and Hera houses. So let me look at this Academy, for example, right here. So this is on the updated version. You can see the reanimation chance is 212, and on the live version, that same Academy has a reanimation chance of 162%. So now we're going to see a whole lot more skellies popping up with the buff to Hades houses, which that'll be exciting. And then that combo with the buff to the Hades environment, you can imagine, seeing some really cool, maybe Hades themes bases and so forth. Of course, I always advise people to have a wide variety as far as attacks and threats on your base. If you get too gimmicky and make an entire base with nothing but Hades houses, and the attacker does get Hades early on, then you got to remember after that point your base is pretty gimp. So you don't want to get too crazy on any one particular house. And I think with the developers giving housing changes now, I think they're kind of trying to make them more in line. So basically, the rainbow base is the base you want to go for. You want, kind of like generally speaking, an equal amount of the various houses and so forth. That way, now with the bases and the temples and the houses being a little bit more in line with each other as far as benefits go, maybe we'll see a lot more variety in the designs and the builds, etc. Because there'll be more opportunities to make a strong base. You won't feel like, oh, I have to put all Athena houses because those are the best houses, which at the top end, like right now currently the Athena houses are really strong, if you put them in the middle of your base, etc. So now with these upcoming updates, we'll see probably some more variety. So very exciting about that. Let me touch on the other big change that I think that will affect the gameplay dynamics, and that's going to be the Poseidon nerf. So Poseidon, of course, everybody knows he's very strong. He is OP. Who doesn't want a new god that isn't good anyways, right? It would be very underwhelming if they released a new god and he wasn't, or she wasn't, very effective. So Poseidon came out and he wrecks the house, right? So he is getting tuned back a little bit. We'll see how much it affects the gameplay and strategies of people, but his water blast is getting dialed back. So you can see in the post-update version, my strength is a plus 143 for a level 57 on my water blast, and on the live version this exact same ability has a 191% strength bonus. So a pretty sizable chunk. I think it ranges between 22 to 25, the developer said, depending on the level you've upgraded it to. Also, there is a duration change, which I don't know if it was highlighted or not, but now it's going from being 15.6 on the live version down to 14.6 on the post update. So it's not going to last quite as long. The other change is to Kraken. So Kraken currently in the live version, he pops up and he can maybe take out 2 or 3 temples if you're lucky with his tentacles, right? Or even more at the lower levels probably. I think the developers wanted to decrease the chances of that happening because, you could almost solo bases too easy with Poseidon, especially at low levels. So with all of his tentacles popping up and taking out temples. So, that's probably a nerf that makes sense. And for defense, obviously, it's pretty frustrating when, you see a bunch of tentacles take out some of your temples and you're like, man. But, it goes both ways. So with that, anytime there's balance changes, it's important for players to keep in mind, there's going to be an adjustment period there where right now maybe, you beat bases that are 5, 10, 15 levels higher than you. Post this update. That probably won't be the case with the increase in temple health and the increase to the defensive houses and temples. I think that it'll be a lot more challenging to beat bases, that are much higher level, etc. And that's the way it should be, beating bases that are like 20 levels higher than you, or even 10 to 15, or 5 in some cases, maybe is not the most desirable thing in the game. I know, kind of makes defense feel frustrating sometimes. So I'm excited to see that change and see, and just everybody adapt to that scaling down maybe of their offensive cups a little bit. But just give it time. Let all the things settle down, and until all of these updates are really put out there, for the entire player base to really run through, it's hard to speculate. That's why most of the time changes are somewhat conservative, because you don't want to really tweak the game too far off balance. And the game, it's always a challenge to keep the game in balance, and so that's a continuing work in progress. But let me see, was there anything else I wanted to touch on this video for you guys? If you guys got any questions or wanted me to hone in on any specific topics, please let me know. Hopefully I'll get back to doing some more videos. I'm busy with real life stuff, so I want to go back in, especially now once these updates come out. It'll be exciting to do some more videos talking about defense and base building and all that stuff. So looking forward to that. Hopefully everybody's looking forward to this update, and the city slots are the first wave of the future defense base building updates, and then they sneak peeked a few other features which everybody should be excited for. I know I am, and that's a new god, which adds some variety to the gameplay, as well as a new defensive building. So those are, and then alliance words as well. Those are all features that are currently in progress, along with the increasing functionality of a base editor, city slots. So those are exciting things to look forward to. And like I said, hopefully everyone enjoys this update. And if you got any questions or want any feedback, or want me to do videos on anything, let me know. Thanks for tuning in. Keep leveling up.